wanting to experience more, and knowing that we're not meant to do this alone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chronicles of High-Powered Female CEO. And I'm so excited. Look, I have a real live person that I can touch. All the interviews so far have been just conducted via Zoom, but this wonderful woman that I'm bringing to you today happens to also be my neighbor and was like, why don't we just do it in person in your office? And so I'm so excited to introduce you today to my lovely friend, Georgia Vanderville. Welcome, Georgia.
Hi, Melissa.
Georgia is usually at my house on a weekly basis, like picking up kids, dropping off kids, bringing her boys over, taking my kids over, and we occasionally get to have girl conversations in the midst of all of that. And so this is really fun for me. To me, this just feels like we get to have a girl conversation, but we also get to share it and share Georgia's heart with exactly who needs it. We trust that whoever's out there that needs to hear Georgia's particular message in her story. So, Georgia, tell us today, how do people typically know you?
People typically know me because I own a company. It's called Shorties Candle Company, as you know, and we sell candles all over the world, mainly in the US. That's really our main focus. Every once in a while, they're going out everywhere else. People know me from being on stage, from giving speeches at business conferences, women's conferences, all over. I've spoken in multiple different countries, and I've done a little bit of coaching, more toward the business side of things, but then also a little bit toward the personal improvement and changing the way we look at what's happening around us and changing our mindset, a little bit on that. And then people will also know me from different situations, like the Reno Rodeo Foundation here, as well as most influential woman of the Sierra Nevadas, just being part of that organization. A lot of women in this area know me from that as well.
Cool. And I want to double check. Can you guys hear Georgia? She's so soft-spoken. And yay. Let us know in the comments. Hi, Bridget. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments if you can hear us. We can scoot closer if we need to. Georgia forgot to say that she just did a TEDx talk. So, how cool is she? Oh, yay. Hi, Gina. Thanks for watching. How cool is she? And Georgia has helped me a couple of different times with talks and speeches that I have been asked to give. She's like my little secret weapon ninja in my backyard that I get to, like, I'm so lucky. So, and what I think has been so neat is watching Georgia grow. I didn't know Georgia and her husband, Nick, when they started their candle company, but I guess we probably met about 7 or 8 years ago when I moved into this neighborhood. And Georgia and her husband were running their candle company out of their garage. And even from that, it was like a tight, efficient system. It was very impressive. Every square inch of that garage was used to the maximum efficiency potential. And so I would love for you to just share a little bit of the journey of going from like messing around with candles to running a multi-7-figure candle company, because that's just so cool.
Wow, there's a lot of details.
Yeah, give us the highlight version, right?
Let's see, the highlight reel. The highlight reel would be that we, of course, started in a tiny little apartment, and then we moved to another apartment, and then we moved to our house. And we didn't actually expect it to be a company. We just thought it was going to be something we were playing around with, and we were just simply having fun. We were having a good time together. It was exciting. We got to build displays and we got to have something to do together that brought us joy and connected us to our community, which I think that in itself kind of sounds a little weird. Like, why would you want to really connect to your community? But it was a big thing for me as a person, just being able to connect to those people. And so we started with craft shows, and then we went to a kiosk in the mall. And then, but the whole time we were building our online presence. And this was 20 years ago, so businesses online it wasn't that necessary like it is today. And then we built a garage on our property. So we just built an extra shop on our property and moved everything in. And then we did, at one point, we moved to another warehouse. And after a year there, we couldn't keep going. It was 2008, and right when the lease was up to come for renewal, we were like, what do we do? We're either going to sink or swim right here with this decision. And I walked in and I asked the landlord if he would change our rent, if he would reduce it by half. And he said, no, like I was a silly little girl. And so I said, okay, well then here's your 30-day notice. And he was livid. He was so mad. And we had to walk away. So we came back, and then we just made things more efficient. And we couldn't just move back in because we'd grown so much. So we had to rent a huge storage unit, and we put pallet racking in the storage unit. And that was efficient too. Like, it was everything.
I never saw that.
Everything. We had our truck deliveries done to a storage unit. We had, we just got creative with it. We made stuff work. And yeah, it just kind of kept going. And then when we were going to move to the warehouse that we just moved out of, that in itself, it took a lot, because this was a safety net. We knew that we could survive at our house, but we knew we needed to grow. And so just to trust was scary, but it had to happen. So we found this place, and we had gone and we had searched all these different warehouses to figure out which one to move to. It's kind of like grocery shopping, and you're like, which can of whatever that thing is am I supposed to buy? And you just have to trust and kind of go with it. And we didn't lose it. We walked away from one warehouse, and we just said, there's something that just didn't feel right. And we ended up driving around. We drove into a place, and it had these beautiful, huge green trees. And we said, this is it. We had to go there, and we knew it. And so we just signed the lease. And we were there for 3 years. And then just again, still actually in the same complex, but now we're taking 2 units instead of 1. And we actually still have another warehouse as well so we've had to get creative, and we've had to say, hey, wait a second, what is it that we need to do and change, because we can't handle certain parts of it. So we've been able to give away certain things, like our receiving department. We've been able to say, okay, well, everything needs to ship to this other housing warehouse, and they can hold all of our inventory there. So they have huge stacks of pallets of inventory, and it's all raw materials. And then we have them deliver it to our warehouse now. But we're still in the same complex, like I said. Now we've got 2 units next to each other, and it's beautiful, very efficient little operation, and making it all come together. And that's kind of the highlight reel of everything for the bones of the company itself.
When did you know, like this is really like taking off? Like, this is really, when was the moment when you were like, oh, it doesn't matter what we do, it's like we have to chase the snowball or whatever?
Right now. You just told me. Why have I been playing this whole time? When did I feel like we had to grow? Is that what you mean?
I guess,
or we had to continue or stay stagnant.
I guess that was neat, because you kind of explained that in terms of saying yes again to a warehouse after having had a really difficult warehouse experience before where it felt like a make or break of the whole company. But I guess the moment where you felt like, oh, like this company is really is going to be with me. Like this company is really big. It's really successful. I can rest a little. I don't have to like stay awake at night worrying about it, that kind of thing.
Oh, probably about 2 years ago, where I finally was like, oh, okay. And then, but you know what? What's really interesting is when you're going through this whole process, the entire time you are so needed. You are so like, oh, I've got to do this and this and this and this and this. And you kind of go on this roller coaster of, you need me so bad. Okay, I'm here. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to worry about it. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. And then when you get to a point where you recognize that everybody does not need you 100%, you can start to feel a little lost. And you're like, what am I supposed to even do now? Like, okay, so this section taken care of, this section taken care of. We built this incredible software that every company on this planet should have, but we only are the only company that has it because it's proprietary for us. And my husband just hasn't simply made it available. I guess he just doesn't have the need to make it. Like no one's ever come and said, hey, could you help us out with this? So he hasn't done it yet, but we have this software that has taken so much out of the equation. And he's so sweet and kind because he's like, I saw what you were struggling with, so I made you this software to make it easy. And now I'm like, what do I do with myself? A little bit. So it's being able to kind of recognize, okay, so there are other steps along the way, and let's go, okay, now I have the time to actually get to that thing I've been wanting to. So instead of me sinking and dying and being like, you don't need me, and throwing a fit, and which I did do, by the way, if I can be honest, sorry, I did do it. It's recognizing those. Now I get to work on those projects, things like insurance for our employees. Okay, now I have the time to sit down and dive into that. Bringing out the two new products that we've been so desperately wanting to bring out, and we just haven't had the opportunity to. Now I can, because the software has replaced all of these other things, and because the team is there. Everybody is there. Everybody has a place, and they're excited to be there. And now we can do those little tiny things like team get-togethers and actual trainings, which is actually really interesting because that's one of the biggest things for our company as well, is being able to train our employees where we want them to go. As opposed to just saying, okay, we're here, we're surviving, let's keep going, keep digging, make it work. Now we can go, oh, wait a second. We've got some more leadership skills that we want to teach. Let's take some time out of the day and let's do that program and let's learn those leadership skills.
That's so cool. I love that. It sounds like what you're saying is like when you're not kind of in survival mode within yourself in the business, it frees up that space for you to do the things that actually are life-giving and full of fun and creativity and vision and community, which I know is so like, that's got to be one of your core values. Yes. So can you guys hear her okay? Can you hear us okay? I don't see any comments that said one way or another, but I'm hoping you can hear us. Georgia, tell us about now. Now we're going to get to the things of the heart. That's the point of this interview, right? Is you've done all of this in your life, and we don't only want to hear about that. We want to hear about who is you underneath all of this. So let's start.
I'm good at running, and I can run away.
Yep, I know. That's what I'm good at, guys, right? Vulnerability. What would you say are the things that you hold most precious or sacred to you?
The things I hold most precious or sacred to me. time with my husband, but recognizing that I want time with him, and then actually saying to myself, I desire to have time with Nick today. And when I can say that to myself, I almost don't even need to say it to him. It just happens. And the same thing with my kids. And I know that that's not business related, but I do feel that when I respect that side, that it does help our company. So it trickles over into us working together and creating harmony and magic in the company when we do spend the time together that we need to. And when I have a great time with my kids as well. So those things are really important to me, is being able to spend time with them. But then also at the same time, taking care of myself before I get to the point where I'm mad. And so I force that, like, I'm doing this because I hate you all, but doing it before I get to that point, because then I can bring happiness and joy into the situation instead of anger.
I love that. And I love what you just said about this connection. Obviously, this is what I like and really to stand for, is that we're whole beings, that we can't really compartmentalize these different parts of ourselves. And when you Google compartmentalization, it's all about how to compartmentalize, as if that's still the best way to exist and run a business and wear all the hats and do all the things and have a family still. And really, I think it is more about, there's more and more people like you guys who are pioneering a new way of like I'm all just me every place, and the only hat I have to wear is the hat of presence, and it's just me, and that's it. And I show up on stage, and I show up in coaching people, and I show up running my candle company, and I show up as a mother, and I show up as a wife, and all of those things just require just you. So I love that. What would you have said when you were a little girl about what was precious to you?
Attention. That might be a weird thing, but like when I was little, I just wanted people to see me. I don't know if that even makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you can see like all the little pictures and I'm like, hi, I'm here. And yeah, just when you go back, it's just, and not even necessarily like, oh my gosh, that person's the most incredible person in the world. But like, hey, let's be friends. Hi, how are you? What's up? How's it going? I mean, just anything. I just wanted to be seen. I just wanted to know that I was part of a community with people and I was a valuable part of that.
I love that. I definitely felt that way. And I have conversations with my kids right now where, I feel like that's like something that's commonly said, like, oh, they're just seeking attention. As if then, therefore, we shouldn't give them that attention.
Oh no! If you're
right?
seeking attention, you need it.
Exactly.
That's like someone saying, "Give me water. I need water," and someone's like, "No, they need water. Don't give it to them."
Yeah,
That's not fair.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of how we were raised. If you showed that you were acting like you needed attention, then it was like, don't give
Go to
attention.
your room. No.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And do you feel like in any point of your journey of building your company and stuff that there has ever been a time when you felt like you were being asked to sacrifice the things that you hold most precious? This time with yourself, or this time with your children or your husband?
There were times, and even now, still, I have to talk myself into going home, because I will. I don't really feel like there's a time where other people have asked me to sacrifice so much more than me saying, I have to sacrifice. I'm the only one who can do this. I have to make it happen. And in some cases, yes, that's true. But then there are other cases where that's not. And I didn't recognize things like right during COVID. We were getting, which kind of actually inspired Nick with the software, because we had so many orders that were coming to us, and so we would have like 400 orders a day, and we couldn't keep up with that, and it all had to be done manually. So then Nick ended up building software that we could bring everything in, and we could run it through and process it all like that, which has made a huge, gigantic difference. It took some time to do it, but I would stay at the warehouse for hours. I mean, I'd be there for 16 hours, 17, 18 hours a day, just trying to process these orders. And I didn't recognize that, you have 2 computers. You could ask another employee to stay later with you. You could say, hey guys, this is tough. I can't do it by myself. I'm going to break. But I didn't recognize that because I didn't feel like I could ask somebody else to go outside of themselves. I felt like I had to do it all. And I'm recognizing that it's okay for me to draw my line and say, you know what? I love you, but I'm putting this down. I need somebody else to pick it up.
So huge. I think too, so often that is the case, right? Where we're the ones, especially when you're the business owner, you're the one that creates the schedule for yourself and everything. But I also think that it's the voices of society from our wee upbringing that have said, like, if it's got to be, it's up to me, and hard work is the only virtue worth clinging to, and all of those kinds of things. Like, we were never praised for resting. We were never praised for the inner peace that we created or cultivated. We were only praised for what we could achieve and accomplish, and so I think all of that seems to feed in. And then I think for women too, as a business owner, it's like, I don't know. Do you know what the statistics are for like a retail company like you have, that men versus women business owners?
I don't know. I don't know those statistics. I know that most companies are owned by men, even still.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting because it will get to a point where even if a woman has started a company, a lot of women will almost be forced out. Like, a man will be there at some point, and then the woman will get to a point where either she's like tired or something else is happening and she'll lose her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and to be honest with you, I don't think that is entirely because a man came in and said it. I think sometimes it's also because I hate to say man and woman,
Yeah.
but like the person who started it, let's just say it like that. The person who started it, and then the person who's coming in. The person who started it says to themselves, I finally have help. I can relax a little. And then their voice starts to drown. And then they don't know how to pull it back up and how to say, hey, wait a second, I'm here. So a lot of times they can come back with a vengeance, or almost like a wrecking ball, you know what I mean? And they're like, hey, wait a second, I still have a voice. But you can have a voice without creating that tension, that explosion. So it's recognizing that that other person didn't come in to destroy what you've done, and they aren't here destroying what you've done. They're trying to bring their own flavor, their own assistance into the game. So being able to communicate back and forth and having peaceful conversations, I think, is really key to women or that other person, that original person, if that's what they so desire. If they can peacefully come together and recognize that this person has wants and desires too, and they're bringing good stuff to the table, but recognize it as bringing good stuff to the table, not trying to destroy what this person has done originally,
Mm-hmm.
then they can work together and they can move things forward. I don't know if that answered.
Yeah. It brings up a good question, which I always am so curious about. And knowing you guys, I guess I'm even still curious, and I know listeners are curious about running a business with your spouse, because there's the dynamic of, the marriage and the romance and the beauty and the love that's in a marriage. And then there's the aspect of like running a company side by side and the various parts and pieces that entails, and the roles, and that, you do these parts, I do these parts. But how would you say that you guys have navigated keeping the marriage sweet among all the nuts and bolts of running the company together?
It's kind of gone in a flow, right? Nothing has ever been 100% sweet all the time. I know that when we have been really, really low, like, oh my gosh, we are so strong together in that. We're never bashing each other. We're always
like low in the company.
Yeah. When the company
that's so beautiful. So you guys like kind of team up even tighter.
Yeah. I mean, you see hard work come out at that moment, as well as when we're really, really like high, when we're really, oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy. But then at those moments, instead of like when you're low, you put your heart and soul into the company. And when you're high, you put your heart and soul into you, because you have that time too. You have that extra capital too. We have the Dragon Lights Festival going on right here, which is all the Asian culture lights inside of like really cool dragons and all that. I don't know. It's really neat. But previously, if we were really low, we wouldn't have spent the money to go do that. But we might have snuck down there and like walked along the outside and still been able to experience it. So it's still recognizing that that you can still hold hands even if you are low. You can still go do those things together and continue to create that relationship. And when you are high, good, that's fantastic. Still remember to hold hands, and don't hold on so tightly to that hard work that you forget to hold hands, because that's easy to do too. Or that in between where you're like, well, we just focused on the company and forgot to talk to each other about anything other than the company.
Right.
But we've had the kids are like, Mom, Dad, you're not allowed to talk about work anymore. So that's kind of helped a little. And then if we like go do something, if we have dinner and no one's talked about the company, one of the boys will say, we didn't talk about work. This is amazing. So there'll be like a little celebration there, which is kind of fun.
That's so cute. Like, kids are so good at that, aren't they? Like, I love that. So as we begin to wrap up today, and hasn't this just been wonderful? If you're still watching with us, thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. As we wrap up, I have a couple more questions for you. One is, what still feels vulnerable right now?
In what aspect?
Just in your life. Like, many people would be tempted to look at your company and everything you've just shared about your family and everything and think like, holy crap, American dream, she's got it all. But what feels vulnerable to you right now? Give us something that helps us know you're real.
Well, I kind of said it earlier, but recognizing that I'm still needed even if my role has changed.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah. And I did pick up on that. I wondered if that's what you would say. It's like, what do you think that is? Is it kind of like that, like my value has come from being this big contributor, or what is it for you?
Yeah, for me, it's yes. Yeah. My value has come. Everybody has always turned to me, and now people do not need to turn to me anymore. They do a little bit, but it's learning how to it's learning to communicate with other people even when they think they know everything, but communicate with them peacefully. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So we had an employee, and she knew, she'd been trained on some machinery. And I was watching something happen, and there was a way that she could do it better. And so I walked up to her and I said, hey, this would be a good way to do it, and you'd have a better result. And she looked at me and she said, yeah, I know, I got it. And I didn't know how to respond to that, because do I want to smack her in the face? Honestly, no, I don't. I want to kind of give her a hug and say, it's okay to listen to what I have to say, because what I'm telling you is actually worthwhile. It will make a better product. It will give you a better result because you're going to have a better experience with the machine. And it's recognizing that, they have the information they need. And now how do I take my expertise and still share it with people, even though I'm not the main contributor anymore?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So recognizing how to do that and how to do it peacefully without smacking her in the face. You know what I mean? Because that's not what I want to do. That's not going to give me the result I want.
Right.
And it's not going to make her feel good. And yeah. And then also too, kind of the same situation but happened, but with my husband in middle of the warehouse with everybody. And he was trying to change things. We deal with hot and cold. That's what we do. It's wax. And I understand all the elements of that, and he was not understanding that. So when we moved into the new warehouse that we just moved into, he was wanting, it was really exciting because we had AC back in the warehouse. So he was like, everybody should be in like 69-degree weather instead of 110-degree weather. And I agree with that, but not at 69. Because it's going to end up freezing your employees, first off, in the middle of the summer, and it is going to destroy the product. But we had a situation out on the floor where I was trying to communicate this to him, and he took it like I was undermining his authority, and it was in front of everybody. So as a leader, I need to step back and I need to think, what is it that he needs? Because he will understand if I can take him out of a situation where he feels vulnerable and feels like he's being attacked, and then I can talk to him separately. And then it also protects all the employees, because then they can just see the solution from him instead of see an argument between us. And I think that that my role needs to change, and I need to recognize that and make that change, because now I am a true leader as opposed to leading in the team.
Yeah.
I'm training the leaders for the team.
I love that.
And being able to recognize that and step out of that is good. But it takes a while, because at first you feel like my place is gone. And recognizing that your place isn't gone, it's just changing. And recognizing the beauty in that change, because all of a sudden, instead of being here, I've just elevated to here.
I love that. And I think too, some of what you're describing could be framed around the masculine and feminine, because I see this a lot in my clients, where it's like, you're really now leading more in feminine energy. Masculine energy is like being in the middle of all the strategy and systems and like the actual, A plus B equals C, and this is how we get things done. And now you're pulled back and you have created so many amazing systems in your business that you get to be in the creativity, in the visionary seat, in the like inspiring people and connecting with people and seeing like the larger vision, which is so vital. But it's almost like meditation, right? It's like it's easier to just go do stuff than it is to like ponder and like be connected to intuition and like and like be with the vastness of what it is that you're creating and all of that. And it's so beautiful. And then of course that just it's funny because I think oftentimes when people find themselves in this position, they just fill up their time with more busy stuff because we don't know how to just be in that feminine energy space that we need so much. Like we need it for ourselves, but also like your company needs it and your family needs it and stuff. So that's super cool.
Yeah, but also recognizing that feminine energy doesn't just have to go toward family or the company. We can also then put that on ourselves. And then when you can recognize that, then it enhances every area. And what does feminine energy actually look like for you is different than what it's going to look like to somebody else.
Totally.
And when someone says feminine energy, that does not necessarily mean you need to go knit in the corner for 52 hours.
Exactly.
That can mean, you know what? You need to pull out your mountain bike and go for a ride.
Yeah.
You need to hike Mount Rose. You need to, you know what I mean? Like, you need to go for a run. You need to do something that's for you.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I appreciate you bringing that up because there's, some big misconceptions around what that even means, right? It's about vacuuming. No, it's not about vacuuming. But, okay. So last question, Georgia, is tell us about a time that has felt like one of the most fulfilling experiences of your life.
A time when I had one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life. Oh, I don't know. I think about, to be honest with you, I would say that one of the things that has been the most fulfilling, but I wouldn't have called it the most fulfilling at that point in time. I would have called it my biggest growth moment. When I was little, I used to always want to be in plays. And I always, I'd go and I'd try out and they'd be like, no, you can open and close the curtains. And then I'd be like, I'm part of it. Hooray. Although I always wanted to be like Cinderella or, you know what I mean? And I always wanted to do different things where maybe I was in the spotlight. But then it got to a point where I just felt like that was not a place for me. And I remember, well, it wasn't actually that long ago, just a few years ago, it was 2019, I think. It might have been 2018. But I had gone to a speaking conference. It was like speaker training. And I didn't really know how to share who I was. And, I'm sitting in the audience telling myself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I got this. And I'd already been told, I had an experience where, let me just backtrack just a second, where I had talked to one of our customers. She used to buy candles from us all the time. Very, very famous woman. And she had written a book. And she was a New York Times bestseller, and she mailed me her book. And in the book, she talked about herself on stage. And I was so excited. I was like, oh gosh, this is my calling. I could feel it inside of me. And it took me everything I had to finally one day tell her, hey, I want to be a speaker. And she said, oh, honey, don't do that. You should not do that. What you should do is stick to what you're good at. You're good at making candles. And I have spoken to her one time since then.
Oh, like dagger to the heart.
And I ended up I just said, I have to follow my heart. Like there's just something else there. I have to follow what's inside of me. And I ended up in Canada at the speaker training. And they had taken these words and they taped them to the bottom of the chairs. And there wasn't one taped to the bottom of my chair. And so I ended up walking over and I pulled one off of another chair and I tried to hand it to someone else because I was like, well, it's not mine, it's on your chair. And the guy who was running it, he said, no, it's yours. But I'd already gotten up twice and I had tried to speak and I'd frozen and I'd walked off stage because I was like, hi, and then I walked off stage pretty much. So I got up there and I had this little phrase and it was the ugly duckling. And I got up there and I again froze. And so I was like, okay. So he talked to me for a minute or two and I thought, okay, good. Okay, he's going to let me go. And I went to walk off and he's like, no, now I want you to do it again. And so I did. And I ended up, I cried when I shared this story. And it was about trusting somebody else when I was 13. And she had really hurt me. And it really, that situation threw me for a loop. And at the very end, I said, I might be that quail that follows or I might be the ugly duckling, or I might not be the ugly duckling. Maybe I'm just a weird, awkward quail, but I'm really cute. And I had actually delivered this talk. And at the end, I ended up getting a standing ovation. And I was blown away and I just bawled my eyes out. I was like, oh, I can do this. I can share who I am and do a good job. And that, I think, was probably
now we're both crying.
Sorry.
This is what happens every time we talk anyway. Oh my gosh, I love that.
But I would say that was probably one of my most transformational moments because I got to see that I could do something and that what I was doing was worthwhile.
Wow. And to connect all the pieces where you said, I just wanted to know that I was important and that people saw me and I wanted that attention as a kid. And then going and trying to be on plays and not getting your part that you wanted, and then having this big influential woman tell you you should not do that. And then knowing that you not only did you do that was your little intro into I can be a speaker and people can get value to all the different speaking things that you've done and coaching all these TEDx speakers. And I'm like, Georgia, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. You guys, hasn't this been fun? Maybe my future is flying women in to do these interviews in person because this was way funner.
And funner is a word. No.
Now. Georgia, is there any last thing that you want to share with the audience before we wrap up today?
The only thing that I can think of that I think is really important, because we did start out talking about business, is that one of my biggest things that has changed me personally is meditation. So it's changed our company, and it's not the silent, still meditation of just sitting there and trying to clear your mind. It's really being able to go into a deep state and see and feel things that are beyond where I am now. And if I could share anything with anyone, would be that that meditation is the key. And that's my belief. I think you can find lots of free meditations on YouTube. Tons.
Well, actually, what we should do, that's the other thing you didn't say that you do, is she's let us munch and meditate for years, right? A little lunch hour meditation thing. But Georgia made me a meditation that's amazing. Can I put the link? So we'll put the link in the comments. It's so good, and it is about seeing the possibilities of what you can create as a business owner and everything. It's really, really beautiful. You guys will love it. Like you have such a great voice for a meditation. Like it's like, wow. So super cool. Well, thank you so much, Georgia, for sharing your heart with us today. And you guys, I hope you got exactly what you needed out of this. Take a moment and pause and reflect on what you received from this today. And hi, Dina. Thank you. It's Shorties Candle Company, which you'll see the title in the description of this video. And thanks for watching, Gabby. And hi, Mary. Thanks for watching. And I'm so glad that you guys joined us live too. Thanks again. And this wraps up this season of Chronicles of the High Powered Female CEO. Thanks for being my final one for the season. Woo! Look at this. I think we should show everyone. People online have no idea how tall I am. And so let's just show this real quick here. This is well, now you know it's even worse because the screen's on the table.
Well, it's funny because everybody thinks I'm so much taller because everyone's taller on Zoom. And
Bye, guys.